The Patient in Room 237. A sci-fi horror short story. The first thing I remember is the silence. Not the kind you find in an empty room, or the quiet of deep night. This was something else. A vacuum. A stillness that swallowed everything, even the memory of sound. I opened my eyes to a blinding white void, the ceiling, the walls, the sheets covering my body, all a shade of sterile nothingness. A hospital, maybe? But something felt off. My arms were strapped to the bed. Tubes snaked into my veins, their contents colorless, lifeless. A faint beeping echoed in the air, monitoring something. My heartbeat? My breathing? I wasn't sure. Then, the doctors arrived. There were several of them, but I don't recall the number. They glided into the room like shadows cut from light. Their faces were obscured beneath featureless masks, and when they spoke, their voices rang in my head, not out loud, but inside my skull, like an echo of thoughts I hadn't yet formed. "You are recovering," one of them said. "The transition is almost complete," another added. "There is no need to resist," said the third. Resist what? My voice felt trapped behind my lips, my throat raw as if I hadn't spoken in ages. A flicker of memory surfaced, something violent, cold. Drowning? Falling? I couldn't place it. My lungs rattled when I spoke. "Where am I?" I croaked. The masked figures exchanged glances. The first doctor, taller than the others, tilted its head. "You are in room 237. The final stage before departure." Departure? Departure to where? I tried to sit up, but my body felt numb. Something deep within me knew, I didn't belong here. "I'm not supposed to be here," I whispered. The second doctor stepped forward, placing a gloved hand on my wrist. "Your vitals are stable. The process is going smoothly. Soon, you will move beyond." Beyond? No. Something was wrong. I wasn't dying. I wasn't sick. I was. Then I heard it, a scream. Not from me. From somewhere else in this place. Distant, muffled, but raw with horror. And suddenly, I wasn't cold anymore. I was burning. What was that? I demanded, struggling against the restraints. The third doctor simply sighed. "Some patients take longer to accept." Accept what? And then I saw the portal. It hadn't been there before, but now it stretched across the far wall, a black cavity bleeding into the void, like the mouth of a cavern. Through it, I saw myself. A hospital room, real this time, faded wallpaper, an IV drip, a heart monitor pulsing red warnings. And in the bed, my body lay still, eyes closed, a ventilator forcing breath into my lungs. "That is not me," I whispered. The tallest doctor nodded. "Not anymore." The horror of it slammed into me like ice water. I was dead. Or dying. Or stuck in some transitional purgatory between. "No," I gasped. "No, I can feel this. This is real." "What is real?" the second doctor mused. "The body or the mind?" I turned back to the window. A nurse entered the hospital room, checking the machines. I watched as she adjusted the IV, spoke softly to my unmoving body. "I want to go back," I said. The doctors stood in silence. "Please." My voice cracked. "You said some patients take longer. That means it's possible, right? Few ever return." The first doctor hesitated. "But if you insist." The restraints unclasped with a soft hiss. My arms were free, my legs light, my body suddenly weightless. "You may try." I stumbled toward the window. The void beyond it pulsed, as if breathing. My hospital room was just within reach. I placed my hands against the glass. It was warm. Push, the second doctor whispered. I did. The glass rippled under my fingers. The void churned. And then, I fell through. A sudden awakening air rushed into my lungs like a drowning man breaking the surface. I bolted upright, gasping, choking, alarms blaring around me. A nurse screamed, nearly dropping the clipboard in her hands. Mother of God. We lost you for 2 minutes, she stammered, pressing the emergency button. You weren't breathing. How? I wasn't listening. I turned my hands over, flexing my fingers. My body. My real, living body. The nightmare was gone. Or so I thought. Because just as the doctors rushed in, just as relief threatened to drown me, I saw something impossible. Across the room, a shadow moved. Not mine. Not the nurse's. It stood in the corner, tall, faceless, watching. And then, in a voice I should not have been able to hear, it whispered, "You were never meant to leave, patient 237. The machines flatlined again. And the void opened its mouth.